What's going on, people? It's your boy Brian J. Cordero back with another review. Today's review is no other than Bill and Ted Face the Music, the last Bill and Ted movie that ever came out, and probably the last one to end for the trilogy, and not really going to have a fourth because there's no point of it, I guess. So yeah, this is the third Bill and Ted movie that came out so many decades later. You know what I'm saying? Since this last one, since the second one. The second one it ended with with them at the show, performing their live performance called the Wild Stallions, and you have the princesses rescued. They traveled far into the future, and they became dads, and they introduced their little children. Cole said, "This is little Bill and little Ted, even though they're not boys, they're girls." So, um, yeah. So basically, they're back for a third adventure, but this time they are the fathers of the young two females. Um, I'm trying to find their name. I don't know. One is Kelly, the other one is Thea. Those two are the daughters of Bill and Ted. So yeah, the ruler of the future tells best friends that Bill and Ted they must compose a new song to save life as we know it, but instead of writing it, they decide to travel through time to steal it from their older selves. Meanwhile, their young daughters devise their own musical scheme to help their fathers bring harmony to the universe. Now, finally, time travel is back in the Bill and Ted universe. I'm not saying this is the best one in the trilogy or anything, but I'm just saying that at least we finally have time travel in this movie, unlike the last one. We didn't have any time travel in the last movie until like the end of the movie. It's a very wholesome, goofy as its heroes. Bill and Ted Face the Music is like a very rare, long belated sequel that largely recaptures the franchise's original charm. Even though this is the last one, and I don't think they'll ever give us a fourth movie. Anyways, we're trying to look at my notes. Yeah, so no, hold on a second. Yeah, Bill and Ted, the Face the Music proves that two lovable idiots that can still have the universe, even if they're running 5 minutes late and have no idea what they're doing. It's goofy, sweet, and somehow more wholesome than a time traveling history lesson with a guitar solo should be. Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter bring the same big hearted chaos, reminding us that kindness is still the ultimate superpower. A totally excellent reminder that sometimes the answer is just be excellent or hope for the best. You know, this is one of my favorite newer entry in the entire trilogy. Don't get me wrong; it's better than the second one, but it does not top the first one. This movie is still one of my favorite films to watch since I seen it just last week. I watched it because it captures the fun, positivity, and charm that made the series so memorable. It feels like a genuine continuation rather than a simple nostalgia project. And that helped me enjoy it from the beginning to end. The humor is lighthearted and entertaining with the plenty of moments and that made me smile. The movie embraces its quirky style while still feeling fresh, making it enjoyable for both longtime fans and newer viewers. Another reason I enjoy this film is so much is its upbeat and optimistic tone. The cast clearly has fun with the material, and the energy carries throughout the entire movie. It is the kind A film that is easy to revisit whenever I want something fun and uplifting. Overall, Bill and Ted Face the Music is a delightful sequel that succeeds through its humor, heart, and positive spirit. It always leaves me in a good mood, which is why it remains one of my favorite movies to watch. Yeah, rated out of 9 10. No, I actually prefer 7 out of 10 because it ain't that perfect. It's a solid legacy sequel with the same writers and sincerity of the originals. Alex Winter is still acts great, like Bill, even after all these years. Keanu Reeves feels more stoic in this point in his post John Wick career. Bill and Ted's daughters are spot on with their impressions. I have mixed feelings about the retcon and that Bill and Ted still haven't changed the world with their song yet. It's a retcon. But at least it's at the beginning and it's funny with the time warping because they haven't made the universe saving song yet. Missy getting married again at the start, Ted's little brother was hilarious. Especially the line making my dad his own son. The double couples therapy was funny. I like the funny robot character Dennis McCoy. I like the fun time blending concert. There's a big retcon that their daughters made the song, while Bill and Ted still performed it while passing instruments to everyone across time. It's a funny and sincere sequel that maintains the spirit and passion of the originals. Let's see if I'm recording myself. Okay, I'm recording. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Had fun. Great, wholesome entertainment where for 90 minutes I could escape from all that is going on in life and the world. Bill and Ted remain a lighthearted comedic duo. No, really, they have remained a lighthearted comedic duo. It was complete rubbish, and I agree it would have been a lot better, but I thought Bridget Lundy stole the show with her nailing of her father. Ted's characteristics for a general entertainment evening, I meant to say, rubbishy TV, it was worth a watch. Yeah, worth a watch, some good ideas, but nothing comes close to the original movie. Unexpectedly, a really great sequel, and I think in some ways better than the second movie. Shout out to Death for getting the recognition he deserves. It may not fit within the two first movies how they worked so well together, but as a conclusion to a trilogy, it does it well. It makes you feel at the end everyone throughout space, time can come together and just be like the ending line says it's not the song that mattered, just that everyone played it together. It will never be as iconic as the first or as good as a follow up as the second, but it still ended the story well. You know, it's still a great movie with a great plot, great humor. It is really not that bad of a reboot. I found it very entertaining, similar to the original movie. You know, I enjoyed it. Like funny, charming, great cast. I only wish there'd be some more Bill and Ted in it because despite all the other likable characters, they were still the funniest. Um, it was an adventure for sure, but not excellent. There were no Melvins. We were looking out for them. You know, there was like more time travel than in part two. They used the same idea with gathering historical figures like in part one. And why was Kid Cudi in this movie? Yeah, neither do I. I don't know that either. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Kid Cudi. You know, he's a great artist. But what was the point of his character in this movie? Our favorite character was like the primitive drummer called Grom. You know, great movie. The amazing, lovable characters that are Bill and Ted love on, and despite both being much older, they're still just as entertaining as they were back in the day. You know, Yeah, I totally missed out when The Face of the Music released a few years ago. Recently, I've been going through a lot, and I saw the original Bill and Ted. I didn't remember much, so I gave it like a go. Not only did it hold up, I feel so positive and happy. I immediately watched The Bogus Journey. The happiness continued. Face the Music wasn't streaming anywhere until this week, though. Renting it was expensive for some reason, so I no, actually, it actually was streaming in Tubi, which I got to see last week. Lucky me. The opening wedding scene was hilarious. Ted's dad, Missy, Ted's brother, the princesses. The only knock I give it is Keanu didn't seem as committed to the role. What's bonkers is he seems to be more free and having more fun with their future selves, English squatters prisoners. Um, that took me out of a bit, but the core message of the movie and the rest of the cast was superb. The robot and death were really standouts. When the movie ended, I had tears in my eyes. Not really, tears of laughter. It's so simple. Be excellent to each other. I know I'm working harder just to do just that. Yeah. So, well, once you've seen the and enjoyed the first two, you'll love this. The future Bill and Ted's are hilarious. After many years of being stuck in development, right? Keanu Reeves, Alex Winter finally delivered their much talked about third installment in Bill and Ted franchise. Bill and Ted Face the Music was released in theaters and on VOD simultaneously, but due to the COVID pandemic, it did not make a big splash at the box office, though it received some praise critically. The first two Bill and Ted movies were fun, tongue in cheek stoner comedies on a comically huge scale, and they definitely made their mark back in the day. Even spawning an animated series, one can stand one can still understand the nervousness of a studio being tasked with producing a sequel, though, as the films, especially Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, were mild successes financially and mostly live today in the nostalgia of those who grew up with them. A new film, as opposed to a full on remake, would be for the fans. A pet project for the two leads, Bill and Ted Face the Music checks in a with Bill, Alex Winter, and Ted, Keanu Reeves. In middle age, as they continue their struggle to write the song that will unite the world, a lot has changed since we last met them. They each have a daughter, Rufus, played by George Carlin in the originals, is gone. Their band, yeah, rest in peace, George Carlin. Their band Wild Stallions broke up, and their wives are getting tired of their desperate quest, which they feel that has kicked their marriages to the number two spot when Rufus' daughter Kelly, played by Kristen Scale, comes to meet Bill and Ted from the future. Their lives once again take like a most well bogus detour. Bill and Ted are primarily informed that the fabric of reality itself is about to break completely unless they can unite the world within a short amount of time, as historical figures are randomly beamed into present day and vice versa, with landmarks disappearing and reappearing all over the place. It becomes up to like Bill and Ted to hop into the trusty telephone booth and fast forward to the future, where they hope they can steal the world saving song from themselves. This proves to be a challenge since their future selves aren't exactly what they expected. Meanwhile, their daughters, played by Samara Weaving and Bridget Lundy Payne, also going on a journey through time, trying to bring some of the best musicians back to help perform the song, including Jimi Hendrix, Mozart, and Louis Armstrong. Along the way, we touch base with Death, played by William Sadler, Hell, who is reluctant to help due to his unceremonious exit from Wild Stallions years prior, and meet a robot created by the great leader, Holland, played by Holland Taylor. In the future, who is tasked with destroying our heroes, and the film does a surprisingly good job of taking what made both films before so enjoyable, putting it into this movie and making it work with the new story. The obvious retconning of Bogus Journey's ending, however, may infuriate some. Face the Music does have its shares of issues, the kind that most reboots or late sequels often suffer from. The split focus between the main characters and a new generation beloved characters are not present. References a go-go, celebrity cameos, I meant to say. A familiar story. Yeah, celebrity cameos, a familiar story. Yeah, granted, this sequel does have all that to deal with, but considering this is a movie with a lot of charm and clearly a lot of love for the franchise, William Sadler is a brilliant as ever as Death, once again effortlessly stealing the show, while Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter have a ball reprising their classic characters, wearing all kinds of ludicrous costumes and heavy makeup. The plot may just be a mix of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bogus Journey ramped up to 11, but it all blends together. A lot better than you expect, and it certainly has the right spirit, much like Pee Wee's Big Holiday, which was released many years after the franchise's last movie. Face the Music overcomes its sequel. It is by being every bit as funny and goofy as the films before it, thanks to a funny script and engaging the story in a motivated, lovable cast you are excited to see together again, entertaining. Yeah, there's some people that don't like this movie. I don't care. I think it's a great film. It's a love letter to the first two movies. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. But I recommend you watch the first two, the first two films first. Yeah, so um, yeah, so this is my review for Bill and Ted Face the Music. I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for more reviews. So I'm actually gonna do one more review for today. So stay tuned.
Choose